a thing, but we are going to do an introductory video because some of you have asked for it, and I feel like it's been long enough. It's been a couple years since everything's gone down that I guess we can do an introductory video. So let's just get into it. Okay, so to get to know me, we're going to just start by talking about a little bit about me. No pun intended. So my name is Shauna Rae. I was not born Shauna Rae. I legally changed my name when I was around 21. This is because I do not resonate with my previous last name. My biological father is no longer in the picture, and being realistic, my father is my stepdad. Now, going back a little bit, I was born in 1999 to a man and a woman who had one child before, and I believe they got married after the first child, but before me. And it wasn't a great relationship. They just weren't compatible. They wanted different things in life, and it ended up in divorce. Around 2 years old is when I met my stepdad, and my mom and my stepdad got married about 2 years after meeting each other. And my stepdad was like my dad. I followed him everywhere. I went everywhere with him. He was just my world. And apparently Tara was like in love with him and thought that instead of my mom dating him, she was dating him. But, I mean, Tara was a weird one. Now, my stepdad, when my mom and him met, came with a 12-year-old daughter. So I got a stepsister. And then they had my younger sister, Riley. And she is 4 years younger than me. And so when I was about 3.5-ish, right before Riley was born, my parents went to a courthouse and got married. And I was a witness, but I wasn't old enough to be a signed witness, so they brought in some orange jumpsuit fellas to be their witnesses. But me and my mom were in matching jumpsuits when my mom and my basically dad got married. They've been married now for going on over 20 years. They've always had their ups and downs. There was a moment where they almost got divorced, but I cried, so they rethought it, because they thought I would be the one that was the least upset, because unfortunately, because my biological dad was still in my life from some point, at some point my biological dad and my stepdad had a rift over, parenthood. My dad got very clingy onto the fact that I could only have one father. And, that caused a rift between Mark and I. And my stepdad and I had to recover this relationship. From a very young age, 2 to 6, he was my world, and then 6 to 10, I hated him. And then 10 to 16, I was trying to find myself, and now we're kind of back to being buddies. So we've gone through a lot in my relationship, and I think that he has molded me the most. I have his personality, I have his humor, I have a lot of the same hobbies as him, but at the same time, I don't. I'm very different from him. I'm a little more in the current times. I have very, very different opinions from him when it comes to the body image, because of the way he grew up and because of the way I grew up and because of his personal views on his own body image and because of my openness about the body. And a lot of this kind of relationship has to do with the fact that I do have a disability, that he was there for me during my disability, and as much as my disability was not a visual disability, it was a disability that came with a lot of scars, and he was there for me more than my mom could be, and more than my bio dad was. He was the parent that took me to all of my disability things. Now, when it comes to my disability, I was diagnosed with brain cancer at 6 months old. And my mom had to go through this almost alone. My parents reacted to it 2 different ways. My mom went fully into work and take care of the baby and go to the hospital mode, and my biological dad went ghost mode. He didn't know how to deal with it. He went out and had a couple drinks or did what he needed to do, and my mom just dived into work and dived into taking care of me. And my grandma took care of my sister, and my mom tried to spend as much time with us as possible. And because of this, my mom really didn't have a lot of time to, do things with Tara besides be with her at work or be with her late at night. And so when she met my stepdad, he kind of became our babysitter as well as her boyfriend. And he started taking me to all of my hospital visits. He started taking me to my chemo appointments. And he started to acknowledge my medical issues. When I was 6 months, I had immediate surgery almost, and got the tumor removed, then went through 2 to 3 years of chemotherapy. And it wasn't until I was 5 years old and in kindergarten that we learned what my side effects from my surgery and my chemotherapy were going to be. My mom was told out of surgery and out of chemotherapy that I could be brain dead, that I could have a mental or learning disability, that I could have future issues, that I could, unfortunately have a reoccurrence, that I could, not live long. My life was unknown. And because of that, my mom kept me very sheltered and didn't want to acknowledge anything that was wrong. I think she wanted to get through the cancer, pay the medical bills, and have a child that was typical, normal, and just give that child a normal childhood like she could for Tara. And they were providing for my eldest sister, who was my stepsister. And, how they wanted to provide for Riley, even though she was a thought that my mom wanted, but not really in the picture yet. And so when my stepdad came along, he really took that role of focusing on the side effects and the health and stuff, and not just getting through the cancer. When I was 5 and in kindergarten, I did a school play, and all of my parents were there. My biological father and my mother were watching me, and my stepdad noticed that I was significantly shorter than the rest of the children. It raised a concern. My biological father said that some kids are just short, and my mom kind of tried to brush it off because she didn't want anything to be wrong. Now, my stepfather was the one who made sure I went to Children's Hospital, had an acknowledgement of my height. He's the reason that I went on growth hormones multiple times in my life. And I went on and off of them because of a discussion between my parents, all 3 of them. One of them just didn't know if growth hormones were the right thing. They honestly didn't want to provide anything for it. And because of that, I had to go off of them because I was getting the medicine inconsistently. And I was bruising like a plum. And I wasn't seeing any growth. Now, I went on growth hormones again, a second time around 10 years old, and I was old enough to decide that I can give myself a growth hormone shot. And I did that for 6 years and saw about a foot of growth. But in between that time, I, as a female, have a period and puberty. And we knew that was coming, so I went on a puberty blocker. I almost view it as like the pill. It was a pill each day that was meant to stop my puberty from starting, or my period from just coming in for the first time. I missed the pill one day, and I got my period the next. And we went to the doctors, told them what happened, and he told me to take the rest of the medication and hope for the best, because there was nothing we could do. I got stuck at 3'10" at 16 years old and was diagnosed by an endocrinologist at Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh with pituitary dwarfism. Now, pituitary dwarfism then and now is still defined as a form of dwarfism that is proportional. Most of the time, and all I know knowledge-wise, is that pituitary dwarfism is caused by a medical situation. something goes wrong during the child's growth time period, and their growth hormone either gets shut down, delayed, it goes dormant for a bit, it doesn't produce as much, whatever the case may be. The child then proceeds to go through medical situations like growth hormones or whatever the case may be, and they either grow or they don't. If they grow to an average typical height of today's modern society, they are no longer diagnosed with pituitary dwarfism. For those that do not grow, they continue to stay diagnosed with pituitary dwarfism for the rest of their lives. I am one of those cases. The chances of the cases being like mine are very slim. There's only less than 10 to 15 in the United States. Now, it is not the only side effect I got from cancer, but it is the biggest one. I also had the side effect of soft sockets, which is a dental diagnosis I got at a very young age that I don't know if it's used. It is basically where my chemotherapy attacked my teeth, and it attacked all of my adult teeth and dissolved most of them, or some of the roots, and then it started to attack my baby teeth roots. So my baby teeth are fragile. I am currently going through a dental process to finally get it all fixed up, but I've been living with baby teeth for 26-ish years, and I am dealing with the fact that all of my teeth are coming out and I'm going to have to get implants. Now, some of them are strong enough for the time being, but that's not going to be a forever case. We are just holding on to the teeth as much as we can, and that's been my entire life. Another side effect I got was a calcium deficiency, so it resulted in crooked fingers and crooked toes. Not going to show my feet because, people got weird fetishes. Now, another side effect that probably was the biggest impact on me mentally and physically is the fact that I am infertile. I was not caused to be infertile by my cancer and chemotherapy. What happened is my chemotherapy significantly destroyed my ovarian reserve or egg count, and throughout the years, my egg count has depleted. Until recently, it was below a 1, which on the scale of measurements for doctors, fertility-wise, a 1 to 4 for my age is average. Anything below a 1 is low and needs to be considered egg donation or whatever moving forward. I was a 0.8 when we did the TV show I Am Shauna Rae, and when we did the TV show, they did not go through with the process, so I waited 2 years on it to gather my own funds, because at the time I was told that it was a $15,000 or so process, and I did not have the funds, was not given the funds in my life to just sparingly spend that. I had savings from my days as a barista, but it would have been my entire savings just for a chance that I could have got my one egg. So I didn't do it, and I saved up some funds. I did some work, and 2 years later, I thought I was ready. At that time, I was a 0.4, so I went down by half, and then I went from a 0.4, or a 0.04, sorry, 0.08, 0.04, all of them 0.0s. I went from a 0.4 to a 0.01. And at that point, I decided to leave the fertility treatments and decide that I cannot have children. It is something I decided at 16, and it was brought up again, and it was a horrible thing to go through again. It was very traumatizing, but I'm glad I went through with it, because I don't like to live with what-ifs. Now, that is mostly everything that comes with my disability. I do have ESA animals because I have anxiety. I have depression. I've battled with, I wouldn't say diagnosed eating disorders, but I've battled with a bit of eating disorders my entire life. I've always refrained from food just from the lack of it, and I could go days without eating anything but a piece of toast, and then I would binge eat, And I later learned from health that that is a form of eating disorder. And so since then, when I was 12, when I learned that, I've been trying to keep a steady eye on it. I did develop, because of my dead tissue in my head, I did develop a allergy to MSG, red meat, cow, pig, chicken, white products, emulsifiers, additives, food coloring, and anything that's really just not natural, hormone-wise, because it causes swelling in my brain, which causes extreme migraines, and may one day cause something worse. I'm always haunted by the fact that one of my great aunts had a brain aneurysm, and it's something that could happen. So I have to watch my diet as well now because of my brain cancer and chemotherapy, but that is something I did not find out until I was in my 20s. So I feel like when it comes to my disability, when it comes to the side effects from cancer, chemotherapy, they're unfortunately never ending. So I'll keep you up to date as much as I can on what's going on, but that is all I know for right now when it comes to my disability. A couple fun facts about me is, well, one, I am 26-ish. I'll be 26 in June. And old, and I'm so tiny, but I actually love animals. I wanted to be a vet since I was 4, and life has taken me other ways. I sew my own clothing. I have a fashion line called Fitclusion, which I have a statement piece out, but I'm working on getting brandships and fundraising to produce other outfits, like kind of something similar to what I'm wearing today. And I actually, growing up as a child, loved baking and loved making things like that. But recently, I've gotten into cooking, and I'm learning I can follow a recipe. I want to eventually have a garden and be self-sufficient in a way. I love reading and gaming. I used to love movies growing up. I've wanted to always be an actress, or I'm weirdly a singer, but I can't sing. I've always wanted to be an actress in the sense that, like, working on movies, working on sets, pretending to be someone else is just a freeing ability. And we do it all day, every day, sometimes as people. We pretend to be someone at work that we're not, maybe, or we pretend with our friends, whatever. We pretend around our parents. And I think putting it into a career, putting it into a creative aspect is fun, because you can take certain parts of you and make it a louder part of your personality and make it a different character and all these fun things. So I've always fell in love with acting and play reading and all of those things. I think that kind of ties into my reading. I also have a vast love of other cultures. I've wanted to travel a lot. I dive deep into other, like, cultures and other religions and stuff. I'm always open to learning about mythology and all these things. I feel like it's very smart and very respectful to other people, but also it's something that I think is necessary for most people to go through, because if you don't understand how other people live or how they lived, then you kind of don't put into perspective your life and how grateful you can be. That's another thing that I'm very adamant about, is being very grateful. I was a very negative child. I had a negative upbringing here and there. I didn't have the best role models. I didn't have anyone like me with a disability. I didn't know anyone with cancer. And because of that, I didn't have a lot to be thankful for. You know, I didn't think I was disabled until I got older. I really thought my mom was lying to me and I just was a kid. And, you know, because I didn't remember my cancer or my battle or anything, it was really hard to accept. And I just had a really big difficulty. My parents didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't put me in anything. They didn't try to, like, push me for things. And because of that, I didn't have anything to look forward to be happy with. And I think that because of that, I went through this negative aspect of my life. But I also went through a very positive aspect in my life. And because of that, I'm now coming out of it more positive and teaching people to be more positive with everything. But I've told you a couple things that I like. Besides the fact that my favorite color is green, let's actually show you some of my things, like my hobbies, and my sleeping puppy, and the fact that I have bunnies. Let's go. Well, this is Sahara. She is a 6-year-old golden retriever border collie mix. I adopted her brother, and she kept photobombing him, and my mom got really curious about who she was, and they told us that she was going to a kill shelter if no one adopted her, because she was the last of the litter. So my mom was like, oh my god, we'll take her for half price. And so we brought her and Coda home, and when I moved out about 4 or so months ago, I asked to take Coda, despite the fact that he has gotten very attached to Riley and Riley him. My parents and I had an agreement that no matter what happened, he was my dog, and I was going to get to take him. And I told them I would take Sahara and him, but they didn't give me a choice, and I only got to leave with Sahara. So she doesn't have her brother, which has been a big effect on her. She doesn't have a large playmate. It's a horrible situation, but she does have a better life. She's got a bit of a yard. She gets to go out. She gets to eat nice. But she's a tantrum-throwing biatch. I love this dog, but if you don't do what she wants, she gets very mad, and then she eats stuff behind your back. She gets in the trash. Golden Retrievers are spiteful. Golden Retrievers and Border Collies are very smart. Border Collies can throw you for a loop, and because she is both, she is just extremely intelligent, but also extremely annoying. So that's Sahara, who is sleeping, but if she was awake, she would not be on camera. Okay, so this is the rabbit hut, and I haven't cleaned it yet, so give me a break. We have Starscream, who just turned 2 years old. She's a Holland Lop, and she's black and white. Okay, bye. And then this is my baby. He's just 6 months. His name is Megatron. He is a orange mini Rex, and she got spayed maybe 3 or so weeks ago. No, maybe over a month ago. And he got neutered about 2 weeks ago. Now, as we can see, they don't stay still. But they are cuddle bunnies. They just don't like to cuddle in our arms and stuff majorly. They'll like lay over there on the ground and then let us pet them. Yeah, Star's not gonna stay. She's not gonna stay. She is my shy baby. We rescued them from a breeder. Well, we bought them from a breeder, but I didn't know it was gonna be a rescue situation. Star came in very, very scared. More scared than any bunny I've ever seen. She was not handled. She was not given many varieties on food. She was not let out much. So when she came to our house to be a free-range rabbit, it threw her for a loop. And when she met my boyfriend's family for the first time, she thought she was going away with them and hid under the bed for hours and literally would not come out. She almost fought me on coming out. She did not want to see them. She did not want to touch them. But I think she realized that she wasn't going home with them. You can't have his food. No. So she got a little happier. Now the issue with Starscream, she's a food hog. She loves vegetables, and Megatron's a fruit guy. But that means if Megatron doesn't eat his vegetables right away. He likes to let them sit there at room temperature for a bit, and then he'll eat them. Starscream likes them fresh. Starscream doesn't even like, freeze-dried strawberries or anything like that. She likes natural stuff. So we actually are in the process of feeding them healthier alternatives. We got this from the store, and it's just natural wood and natural hay pressed. They have natural apple sticks now. And then they eat a mixture of flowers. We got a new mixture, but this was chamomile, dandelion, and marigold. And they got 6 different foraging packs coming this time. And they're gonna munch on pine cones and stuff. But we give them fresh fruit, as in peppers. We give them plums. We give them blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. And what other vegetables do we give them? Broccoli. They get a lot of kale. Star's a major kale girl. They get some spinach. And then they've gotten some other vegetable. I can't think of it right now. Carrots. Yeah, carrots. But the main part of their diet is hay, which they do need a refill on. They eat probably a couple ounces of hay a day, I would say. Maybe more. Like, I would say 2 cups of hay in the morning, 2 cups of hay in the afternoon, 2 cups of hay at night, and then 2 cups of hay more in a midnight snack. So that's about 2 times 4, 8 cups of hay a day. Yeah, hay. And they do eat, they eat orchard hay now. I'm allergic to Timothy hay, so we avoid it. When we first got the rabbits, my throat swelled like a little flippin' plum, and I could not breathe. So we switched the hay they were on, and they're much happier. It's a sweeter hay. They love it more, and I don't get hives, and my throat doesn't break out, which is great. But that is the rabbits, because Megatron hasn't come back. Give her own food. She thinks it's Megatron's, and she'll eat it. Okay, y'all, so I hope you enjoyed getting to know me. I hope you enjoy continuing getting to know me and going on whatever path I go on. And I just want to say I love you all. Thank you all for the support and the unconditional love. No matter what, you guys have gotten me through so much, and I wouldn't be here without you. So be thankful to yourselves 100%. Because I am, and because you guys deserve it. Have an amazing day, stay beautiful, stay positive, and just keep being y'all. Bye!